All right, welcome. Merry Christmas. It is Wednesday, the 6th of December, 2023. We have everybody here except Councilman Todd Arvidsson. He is working tonight. He is in charge of the repainting the runway at Kelly Field. They can only do that at night, and he's the foreman, and he's finishing up with that project. So in the interest of air power, he's excused for tonight. Otherwise, everybody is here. And if you would, join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Please take your seats. Lots going on in Wolves Nation and Davenport, America right now. We did have the Davenport High School Band on the agenda for tonight to open this up, but there is a community pep rally tonight, and they need the entire band there. We wish we could have our council meeting there or them here. They're having a pep rally to wish the varsity football team well on their way on Friday to the state 4A semifinals, which is pretty amazing for a football team in its fourth season of existence and only second season with ability to participate in UIL competition. So that's amazing. So we wish them well. We'll actually talk about that a little bit later on. The band did take sixth in state, 4A state, at their competition in the beginning of November. That's why they weren't here at our November meeting. And Davenport High School women's volleyball team took the state championship 4A in November as well, on November 11th, actually, so Veterans Day. So we plan to have the whole room packed with Wolves from various teams in the band here for January's meeting. So thank you so much. Go Wolves. All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 4, citizen comment period. We have 4 people signed up. Remember, we can't comment as a council on what you're talking about in your 3 minutes. We ask that you treat us with the respect that you'd like to be treated with. We are taking notes, however. So, John, you're first on the list.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
It's good to see you. You have the floor, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is John Rivera, 19530 Creekview Oaks here in Garden Ridge. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. I come to you today with my concerns about the venue called The Revival. Some of you may have known it as Sinners and Saints. My concerns are not just mine. I also come with over 200 signatures of the residents of Garden Ridge who also are alarmed about having an outdoor bar located in our neighborhood. 10 residents quickly canvassed our neighborhood to collect these signatures. We will continue to collect signatures, and we'll also give more signatures at a later date. Our purpose is to inform the residents about the bar. Most have not even heard of it. We also will provide them with options and let them know about the proposed business that requires a public forum in order to get their variances. Now, we're asking you, the City Council, to disapprove the venue. And why? Because of noise pollution. We live in Garden Ridge to get away from the metropolitan area. The Bluebonnet Hall is over 2 miles away, yet we can still hear it from our homes. With the same venue being much closer, homes in the heart of Garden Ridge will be able to hear it. Property values. What about the property values? Home buyers will be much less interested in buying a home in Garden Ridge once they discover that there's a bar venue that they listen to every day and every weekend. Light pollution is another one. We don't even have street lights to protect it. The bar venue will violate those as well. Not to mention the crime. Area with more alcohol outlets tend to experience more alcohol-related injury and crime. Incidents of sexual and domestic violence, child abuse, youth violence, homicides, and alcohol-related motor vehicle crashes, drunk driving will all increase, not to mention the traffic. That area's got a curve right there. 2252 is already busy. Adding this venue there will only increase the traffic. Now, if you're looking for precedents, just last month, the city of New Braunfels City Council voted to stop an outdoor music venue near Green. Residents raised concern about the noise and traffic that could be generated by the project, which was also a bar, an outdoor stage, and a pickleball court. The city council listened to their residents and voted against it due to the residents' concern. You can find out more about this in the San Antonio Express News from November 28th. Now, with my remaining time, I'm going to quickly talk about some of the statistics. One study showed that for each alcohol outlet was associated with a 3.4 additional assaults per year. We have a flyer here for you with all the statistics on what happens when you open up a bar in the area. We also have the flyers that we've been handing out to the residents in that area for you if you wish to look at those again. I thank you for your time, and I have no time to yield. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Bill Pohl, you're next.
Thank you. I'm Bill Pohl. I live at 21016 Hickory Bend. I request that the City Council defer voting on the final plat combination for the Revival project. My reason is that there are too many issues involving this development that should be examined and resolved to the satisfaction of the residents before further steps are taken. The developer should make arrangements to directly meet residents, present its plans, and then listen to the questions and concerns regarding this venue. Every resident that I have spoken to is either resigned to or opposed to this development. I found no enthusiasm for it. The City Council itself appears divided on this project. This lack of unanimity on what ought to be a welcome addition for residents in the city's tax base is concerning and should be cleared up before proceeding further. The above request is not only in reaction to the concerns expressed by residents, but also to offer an opportunity for the developer to understand what the community wants. It hardly makes sense to me that a businessman would invest in a project that a significant number of its closest customers don't like. In a prior meeting, it was suggested that residents visit other venues similar to Revival. I went to Treehouse in Spring Branch. I noted the following and how it translates, in my opinion, to the Revival project. Overall area and nearby houses. Treehouse is located in a much more open and less developed area than Garden Ridge. Treehouse is also part of a 5-acre complex along with other businesses. The nearest home is more than 500 feet away. Revival would sit in a developed suburban area on 3 acres, of which a good portion is a rain catch basin and parking lot. It would be less than 500 feet from numerous homes. Night closing hours for Treehouse Thursday and Friday until midnight, Saturday 1 a.m. In Garden Ridge, how do nearby residents feel about that activity that late? What will be Revival's hours? Food trucks. Treehouse has spaces for 4. Only 2 were there on a Thursday evening offering a personal-sized pizza and chicken wings. It seemed a little uncertain about what's to eat on a given evening. At Revival, with food trucks cycling in and out, how does Garden Ridge confirm that it is receiving its correct portion of the sales tax? Music. That night at Treehouse, the entertainer was amplified. The Revival developer in prior statements was uncommitted about acoustic versus amplified music. Should something like this, plus band contests, etc., be confirmed in a written agreement? In short, a venue like Revival is a quote-unquote forced fit in the proposed location and should be rethought if the city is to live by its motto, a way of life, not just a place to live. Again, I request deferral of the vote and a commitment by the developer to create an open forum to present its plans and listen to residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Sharon? Always good to see you. You know the drill.
I do. Sharon Stripling, 21729 Forest Waters Circle. And I'm going to probably be the only one that's not going to talk about the Revival tonight. So maybe later. But just a few concerns. We had our neighborhood association meeting this past weekend. And one thing that came up was the handling of the oak wilt, which has been attacking Sumac Cove over in Forest Waters. We were a lot of residents were a little miffed on why it took so long for us to get anything done. The first meeting we had was January, and we didn't get the trenching done till December. And it had spread by then, and some people have had to take more and more trees out. So I would just like to encourage the city to try to maybe speed that up a little bit, or we're going to lose all kinds of oak trees in Garden Ridge. I've heard there's now a spread even where the original one was on the back side of the Buchner property, sort of into the other side of Forest Waters. So that was a concern that a lot of our members of our neighborhood association had. Another one was we are starting a group in Forest Waters to try to help out. It's sort of a neighborhood outreach group to try to help our neighbors. And a big part of it had to do with our new trash service and how we have a lot of elderly residents and they have trouble getting the trash cans out. So we're going to try to help and picking up all the leaf bags, which I think y'all were going to address if y'all were going to add another program on additional leaf bags other times. And one of the residents made a comment, and I don't know if she called y'all or Republic, and they said that you can get a letter from your doctor and submit it, and they will come up to your door and get your trash can. And if that's the case, I think that's something that we should publish in our newsletter, or maybe y'all have and I missed it. So that would be another suggestion. And then coming down, I live in Forest Waters. I come down Shanethal a lot between George Ranch and Forest Waters. We mow our strip of grass behind the fence, and I think the city is responsible for the one behind George Ranch, and there's a creek right there, and the grass is knee-high or higher, and the deer are coming out, and I almost took a few out the other night, so, because they popped out at the last minute and you couldn't see them, so that's a good thing for going 30 miles an hour or less, and if maybe we could get that mowed to get it down. And thank y'all for all y'all do, and happy holidays. And go Wolves.
Thanks, Sharon. Go Wolves. Ms. Krupinski? Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Darianne Krupinski, 19454 Arrowwood Place. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I come to you tonight to speak against the revival. If it means anything, I've lived here for 11 years, and this is the first time I've actually stepped foot in this chamber. That's how much I feel about this project. I actually work inside city government somewhere else, and so I can appreciate all the ins and outs, the reasons you might approve something like this. I've also seen a lot of mistakes by previous mayors and councils. And while I agree with all of the logistics and statistics that everybody's provided to you, I want to make sure that mistakes and precedents are not set here. Once you go down that path with approving a project like this, there may be no turning back. This city has maintained its character and its integrity to this point, and I feel like a project like the revival jeopardizes that character that we've all come here for. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, those are the 4 citizens we have signed up for the comment period. Moving on to item number 5, the consent agenda. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizens' participation. However, that does not mean the item will be considered outside the consent agenda. Council, does anybody have anything they want to pull from this month's consent agenda? Okay, if nobody has anything to pull, can I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent agenda?
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second the motion?
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The consent agenda is approved. On to item number 6, staff reports. 6A, City Manager. Nancy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have several thank you notes that I want to review first. The first one came from Dean and Barbara Limmers. The note is to Linda, Wendy, the library volunteers, and Friends of the Library. They want to say thank you to all of them for the Veterans Day celebration. They said it was quite evident that much thought, planning, and work went into the event, and they appreciated all of it. They further state that Garden Ridge is truly fortunate to have a sterling example of what a small-town library can be. The next note is from Jesse Brewer, who says, "Thank you to you and your staff and volunteers for a perfect tribute to veterans. What a privilege to hear Major General Brady in his uplifting speech, and said that they are a grateful veteran." The next one is from former Mayor Feibelman, who told Linda it was a great job and thanks for keeping everyone involved. And then the last thank you note is a congratulations to Marissa and Courtney for receiving the TMCA's Excellent Award, stating it was well-deserved. Okay, we have an anniversary for the month of December. And it is 21 years for Lieutenant Dan Bellinger. All right. We had a lot of volunteer hours during the month of November. 6 hours for the Bill Stuffers, 143 hours in the library. Parks had 248 hours, and Families of Garden Ridge 112 hours, which totaled 509 hours of volunteer service to the city of Garden Ridge, and the city could not do it without those volunteers' assistance. Okay, I just have a couple of other things to add to my report, and I'm going to start with saying what a majestic Christmas tree the city of Garden Ridge has. Please, everybody, if you didn't have the opportunity to look at it while it's lit, please do. Awesome tree. Okay. Then I wanted to announce that Comal County Tax Office is going to have 4 pop-up tax offices here in Garden Ridge on January the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and they will each be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And remember, January 31st is the last day to pay your property taxes. That is all I have, unless there are questions.
Thanks, Nancy.
You're
Council, any
welcome.
questions for Nancy, the general? Awesome. All right, we'll move on to item B, Finance and HR. Robin?
There we go. Good evening. I just have a couple of things to report. I did speak with Debbie, our auditor, today. She's hoping to have a draft of the financial report by the 15th, along with any audit entry that we may need to make. That way we can be ready to close our month and our year, our fiscal 2023 year, by the end of this month. So that's good news. The other thing that I have to report, our wonderful accountant and HR assistant, Tina, has pursued a good opportunity for her and her family. Her last day was Monday, and we are currently evaluating how we are going to fill that position. And I think that's all I had to report.
Thank you, Tina, or thank you, Robin. And we're
Thank
so
you,
sorry
Tina.
to
Yeah.
lose Tina, but happy for her to pursue a job and a experience that is a much less commute, right?
Yes,
Right there in New
exactly.
Berlin, and
Closer to home.
we will miss her very much. So, and how was your first municipal audit?
I mean, it went smoothly as far as I can tell.
I
Still
got
waiting to
glowing
get the-
reports from Debbie, so good job. I know that's not your first audit, not your first rodeo,
First
but
city
first city one,
audit.
right?
Yes, sir.
So great job. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, anything for Robin? Great. All right, moving on to Marissa. You're on.
Thank you. I just have a couple things I want to highlight on my report. City Hall will be closing early this Friday at 11 a.m. for our city Christmas party. And then our upcoming holidays where City Hall is closed are Monday, December 25th, Tuesday, December 26th, and Monday, January 1st. The other thing I want to highlight is there is a blood drive that is going on Saturday, December 9th at the Community and Event Center, and you can sign up for an appointment using the link. It's also posted on our social media as well. And then the last thing I want to highlight is that during the holidays, usually the garbage and recycling schedule, it has some kind of change in it. This year, there will be a change the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's. Since both of those fall on a Monday, there will be no trash collection on Monday, and every day will just be pushed back by a day. I know that sounds a little confusing, so we listed it out on here. It's on the grapevine. It'll be on social media, so hopefully everyone gets the word and understands. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Marissa. Council, anything for Marissa, City Secretary? Thanks for posting that stuff so I know when to put out my trash on, not on Mondays. Okay. Thank you so much. Chief, you're up.
Good evening, sir. Thank you. I really don't have anything to add to my monthly report other than we're going to post on social media. We do have a few vehicles that are going up for auction through our wrecker service, Johnny's Wrecker. We'll be posting a link. Everything's done online now, so that you don't have to go down to the wrecking yard to do it. So we'll be posting that probably tomorrow, just to let everybody know. There's only a few vehicles we have, but they usually have vehicles from other cities on the same day. Other than that, don't have anything else to add off the top of my head, sir.
Thanks, Chief. Council, anything for our chief? I got something. I'm going to sing your praises here for a little bit, if you'll bear with me, Chief. With everything going on in Wolves Nation, and Garden Ridge is the capital of Wolves Nation. That's kind of a tagline that we've adopted. With band taking 6th in state, with volleyball taking the state championship, with the varsity football team now on to Waco and Baylor University to play on Friday night in the state semifinals. We support everything that Davenport High School and our schools do, because it's all the Wolves and Wolves Nation. One of the things that we do from special request is escort these teams out of town when they go to the competition. For example, the last 2 years that the Davenport band has left to go to the Alamo Dome to compete all day, they've had a police escort from the city of Garden Ridge to the city limits. The Davenport Wolves football team had an escort last Friday right before the tree lighting ceremony, and they're going to have one again if we can make it happen on Friday on their way out of town to go up to Waco. So it's not just something that happens, and that Rob, as the mayor, goes, "Hey, Chief, Nancy, can you guys do this if we can?" And it magically happens. There's so much coordination that goes into making this happen. We need to have the officers on duty. We usually have to call in people on their off days. We pay overtime. We have to come up with a route. We have to close off the entrances to FM 3009 from Davenport all the way up to where we escort out of town, because they go straight through the lights, they go straight through the intersection. So we have to block all of those off. There's so much coordination that goes into that we never even see, that the chief just does. And this last one with last week with me is something that I coordinated a little bit ahead of time, saying, "Hey, Davenport, is this something that you want?" It took a while to get back to us. They said yes. I said, "Hey, Chief, can we make this happen?" And he said, "Yes, sir, I will." But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes to make that happen and still get the mission done in the city of Garden Ridge to keep us safe. And the police department operates seamlessly. The chief, God bless him, reached out to Davenport for this coming one for Friday and asked, "Hey, is this something that you want to do again on your way to Waco?" And they obviously said, "Yes, please." So with a skeleton crew, with training going on and everything that's happening, Chief thanks for what you're doing to support our schools. And
We'll get it
go
done.
Wolves, and I know you get it done and you make it look effortless, but I'm saying thanks.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Go Wolves. All right. On to Stephen, Public Works. First part of your presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the month of November, Public Works completed 313 work orders. Total rainfall amount registered at the shop was 1.19 inches. We assembled the 35-foot majestic Christmas tree, helped set up for the tree lighting event. Also had the Oak Wilt trench was completed. Next is just the road repairs that are going to come after that. The dumpster schedule for January is going to be January 13th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., January 14th, 12 to 4 p.m., January 20th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then January 21st, 12 to 4 p.m. Those are the new dumpster schedules. We currently have 3 dogs that are ready for adoption. That concludes the Public Works portion of the report. Any questions?
Thank you, Stephen. Council, any questions for Stephen regarding Public Works? Lisa, do you need another dog? Kelly? Kay? Not yet? Sorry. Okay, Stephen, you can keep going.
All right, for utilities. We pumped 55.40 acre feet out of the Edwards. Our year-to-date amount pumped is 339. As of the end of November, we had 100.31 acre feet left. Edwards is currently in stage 3. Trinity, we pumped 13.97, a total for the year of 336.62 acre feet. All utility distribution samples that are required by TCEQ passed. Water loss went up a little bit, 8%, due to a water main issue we had on Hickory Bend on the 3rd. Stage 2 restrictions alerts for November were down 282 from October. No new leak adjustments, waiting for 2 for customers, approved 3, denied 1. And that concludes the technical part of the report. Now I'm going to do a little bit of an update summary of the events that took place on November 3rd when the water main blew over there on Hickory Bend.
Stephen, hang on 2 seconds. Just let me ask council if they have any questions for you with his monthly update.
Just have a
Jesse.
statement. Just again, thank you to you, Dwayne, Robert, and Jack for, keeping track of our water, pumping from the wells from Edwards. Great job. I think we'll make out the year pretty good this year, so appreciate all you're doing on that. I'll keep it short this time.
No, it's great. You've done a great job of managing our acre feet in both wells, and the reason you see an uptick in our Edwards usage is because we want to come close enough to zeroing that out if we can by the end of the calendar year. Okay, this next portion that Stephen's going to brief us is something that Nancy and I asked him to do after our water main, I'll say the water main break in early November. I think it was November 3rd, right? Friday night?
Yes.
And what happened, what we did to combat it and rectify it. And he did some great research. He's going to give us a little bit of a lesson here in what he came up with based on his research and some recommendations. Go ahead, Stephen. Thank you.
After the 1,000 feet of 12-inch water main was installed and tested on FM 2252 between Arrowwood and Hickory Bend, the engineer contractor and I agreed to tie in the new water main on Thursday, November 2nd. We agreed to tie in at 3 locations, in front of Arrowwood on FM 2252, on Hickory Bend, and in front of 19295 FM 2252. And the water would be turned off for about 8 hours. The residents that would be affected were notified directly by handout and electronic means of the upcoming water outage due to the construction. This is all for the water line relocation that's going on because of TxDOT's widening. On November 1st, I was out surveying the sites and noticed that one of the tie-in locations was not ready for the contractor, and the contractor was running out of time to prepare the area for the tie-in. I proceeded to call Sam Johnson, our city engineer, to see if he could find out what was going on because that area wasn't ready yet. Sam came out and agreed that the area was not ready yet, and then proceeded to contact the contractor to find out what was going on. Sam contacted the owner of the company, and he told us that they didn't have enough workers to do all 3 tie-ins. Then Sam proceeded to tell the owners how he should have notified us earlier, and that they need to communicate any changes immediately before moving forward with this project. The owner then assured us that they would be able to do the tie-in, two tie-ins by leaving one section of the old water main live while the third tie-in was completed, meaning no one would be without water, and we agreed to move forward. For the Hickory Bend tie-in to be completed, the new water main needed to cross under the existing 8-inch water main. Let me see if I can bring a picture up. That one right there. As you can see, the blue water main on the picture is the old water main, and the purple one is the existing. So it had to go under the 8-inch, then it took a right, and then it 45'd up to tie into the existing 8-inch on Hickory Bend. As you can see, there's a little portion after the valve, the red dot that's open. That area got capped, and from the water valve toward that T on the blue area, that was still live. And that water main had about pressure of 110, 115 at times depending on how high the water is in the elevated tank. Anyways, whenever that got put in, the tie-in went okay. The tie-in went as planned, but I feel that whenever they backfilled, that it probably put pressure on that little stub out on the water main past the valve. That might have put pressure on the gasket at the top of the main that was facing 2252. That was one of the reasons I feel that it failed, that blew out the gasket. The other reason is that I think that it probably would have never happened if we did all 3 tie-ins at the same time. I estimate about 337,000 gallons was lost that night, and I came to that conclusion by evaluating what our total water was pumped from the day before and the 2 days after, and that's how, and the difference was what I came up with due to that. I think that, from what I could tell, I would want to charge them what we would charge a resident as if they had a 2-inch meter and lost that much, and that would be about $6,000. And total time in overtime from our employees out there was about $558. At this time, we're still determining how the city will be compensated for the employee time and water loss. That's all I have for that right now. If you want to bring up some more videos, I can bring up the video of the valve. That was, I think it's the last picture of the valve. That's the valve. You can see that right there. That's where the blowout was, and that's at the top of the valve. You can't see it, but there's a tear on the top of that. If you want to move to the next picture back. That's a top view of the tie-in. The tie-in is the very last red mark. There's a cap on the tie-in at the end of the valve. There's a valve key that's pointing right there. So as you can see at the back, that's how far it was cut for the tie-in. I'll move one more back. That's another view of the tie-in. You can see that end cap that was cut off of the existing main. In the picture, it doesn't have a cap on it currently, but that's how far away it was when it got tied in. The next picture. And there's a picture of the blowout when I arrived that night. 2252 is facing the other direction, and the water's pointing upwards, so you can tell that's where the actual spray came from the torn gasket. That's about all I have for for the presentation and documents.
Stephen, was the valve too heavy to bring to council as the visual aid? Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 800 pounds.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Again, council, that's something that Nancy and I asked Stephen to put together, do the research for us. I was actually in Denver for the Air Force Army game. Air Force lost badly for the weekend when I got a text from Kelly saying, hey, I'm at Bluebonnet Palace at another event, and what's going on in Garden Ridge? Because I can see water from where I'm at Bluebonnet Palace. And I'm like, I don't know. Right then I got a text from Nancy and Stephen saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing to handle it. So you could literally see it from Bluebonnet Palace. So it was about and think about the amount of pressure coming out of that water main. We were lucky. We were very, very fortunate that, first of all, nobody, that was just for businesses, so nobody was without water for very long. Second, nobody was hurt or we didn't lose a vehicle or something else bad happened with well over 100 PSI and a very large valve spraying out rocks and debris everywhere. We got really lucky that nothing happened. Stephen and company were on the ball right away. The Garden Ridge Police Department was right there handling traffic while Stephen responded. He called the contractors. They were there within the hour, so that's a good thing. But it was overtime for us, and we're lucky nothing bad happened. And remember from Stephen's report and what he said to us tonight, there was a plan that he was good with. And then the contractor altered the plan, and Stephen expressed his concern about that. And the contractor said, nope, we're going to continue with that, and look what happened. They could come back and say, well, it's a valve from 1985. Well, of course it's a valve from 1985. That's when the original lines went in there. So, but it's an 800-pound valve. And what happened was they didn't balance it correctly when they didn't do everything they said they were going to do, and that extra pressure of the rocks and whatnot on that line and that valve caused it to give way. So what do we do with that? I don't know, but I wanted to make sure that the council you guys saw that, and it's on public record that we put together what happened. We did an investigation, and it's a little over, we think, $6,000 in damage. We're not going to pursue, I don't recommend we do anything to pursue that. We can't do it tonight anyway, but I don't think we should pursue anything until everything is done, which should be the way the contract is going and the way they're working sometime probably the end of February, beginning of March, to get everything completed before we start to look at, through Cynthia, if we can ask for damages to the tune of, it's 300,000 gallons, so, it's a little over $6,000 plus overtime. So, Stephen, anything else to add on that?
No, that's all I have.
Nancy, anything to add? Okay, we'll hear from Sam, our engineer, here in a little bit. He may have something to say about it. Council, any comments? Jesse?
Just, appreciate Stephen's, detailed report, and also he spent some time with me in Nancy's office, getting me up to speed, so I appreciate all the details. I'm in total agreement with your report and your conclusions, so I support everything. You stand behind you, so thank you for that.
Let's requalify that, Jesse. I mean, you are a professional engineer, not currently just based on paying the price, right? But
Well, taking classes.
taking classes, but you are a PE, and that is your professional engineering opinion.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, anything else?
No, that's it.
Outstanding. All right, that concludes item E. Linda, item F, you're up. It's good to see you.
Our communal microscope, microphone, not microscope. We had microscopes in science this afternoon. Good evening. I do need to add something to my report. In addition to the regular holidays, the library is going to be closed between Christmas and New Year's. We need to do inventory, some reorganization and rearranging. If you close 2 women in in a room, we'll rearrange the whole thing. But anyway, we will be closing that week. I do have some pictures I want to share with you, just to give you a little recap on Veterans Day. Can we start on the other? Well, we can start there. I just wanted to be sure Wendy's pictures were taken. She was just an incredible help. She's just so wonderful to work with. Also, you see there the three wise men under the land of the free because of the brave. And Councilman Jesse Valdez did a little introduction, a welcoming mini speech, and I thank you so much, Councilman, for doing that. And then, okay, this was the group picture where the veterans came forth, and their spouses did not, but just the veterans came. And then at the top right, we have a team from Davenport High School, the JROTC. They stepped in at the very last minute because the JBSA canceled the day before. They were supposed to come and post colors and do the missing man. But they had some funerals, which no one asked us if they could die then, but anyway, this little group came and they were just wonderful. The Boy Scout Troop 828 came also. Those guys bussed tables without being asked. They would take plates as people finished. Afterward, they folded tables and chairs. They are such well-taught young men. They need to be proud. Todd's not here, but everyone, our whole city should be proud of them. Then on the left, you had, below that, you have the missing men table, which the JROTC team did beautifully. And we had a bugler from Fort Sam Houston. He played amazingly well. He played taps just beautifully. And then Rod Enlow did a little musical story of his life. He said, maybe it's your life too. He was very entertaining, and everyone seemed to agree. Their favorite song was Senior Moments, Brain Farts. It seemed to be quite popular. His wife didn't like that. The next was our speaker, General Patrick Henry Brady. I think his parents knew something. He was outstanding. Oh, part of that got erased. But he is a Medal of Honor recipient for his work in Vietnam. He was a helicopter pilot, did some amazing things. He has gotten like 85 medals and awards, just an outstanding person. But he didn't talk about that. He just gave an inspiring speech. We also had a display of military memorabilia. That's Suzanne Gregory Calhoun. It's an amazing thing. It's by Larry and Candy Mansour. You should see all the things they have, and this was just a portion of them. And the next page shows our sponsors. I tried to circle Veteran Air. That's not the best picture, but they provided lunch, a really delicious lunch. Down below, Friends of Garden Ridge Library did mocktails during the mocktails and mingle time. And then the Pardue family and two families who chose to remain anonymous provided dessert and some accessories. And finally, another heartfelt salute to our veterans was done. I don't know if you can see how relieved I was, though I knew we had a lot to still do. It was like, whew, it was a really special event, at least in my heart. Then, if you have any questions about Veterans Day. And then just a couple of upcoming events. The Santa Claus is coming to the library December 16th. We will have Elf Wendy doing story time, and Santa arrives at 11 o'clock. Those are for the kiddos who missed him at the Christmas tree lighting. This will be the very last event of the year, 2023. And after that week, we're not going to have any more after-school programs until January 8th. After a really busy fall, we need to stand back, take stock of ourselves and plan some more activities for 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Linda. Council, anything for Ms. Linda?
Thank you.
Wonderful job as always. It's amazing what you guys do with a small staff and a very small budget. And so thanks for everything you do. I'm really excited about you taking some time over the holidays to recharge and reorganize, if you will. So,
Thank you so
Not that
much.
you need any more organization, Linda. Thanks. Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Outstanding. Okay, that concludes item number 6. On to item number 7, city engineer project status. Sam Johnson's always good to see you, sir. Lots going on in Garden Ridge. Floor is yours.
Good evening. So I don't have much to add to the report. The project is still about 50%, which I reported last month, only because they're at Tonkawa Pass and there's a lot of rock and they got to get this tie-in, 2 tie-ins done and then connect to the existing line. So they're still at that location. They pressure tested today. It passed. Now they need to do their back T-test, get the results, and then we can proceed with the tie-ins. If you go to the presentation, please, thank you. You can go to the next one, please. So this is just them prepping to install the infrastructure, the main at Tonkawa Pass. So they install main on both sides of Tonkawa, and they're going to meet up in the middle and tie into the existing 12-inch line that's there. So this is just the excavation. Once they excavated, they start to lay the pipe, and you can see it's just solid rock. This entire area is just straight rock, no dirt. Next slide, please. Here's another section that they put in, so you can see them excavating and then actually laying a pipe, and you can see in this picture to the right is how much rock they're dealing with on this project. So that's been kind of slowing them down. I still anticipate them finishing up in February, but it has been slowing them down. Next slide, please. So this is the schedule. I haven't adjusted the schedule. I still think they'll be out of the way, out of the city, probably by March at the latest. That's abandonment of the existing line, everything. So they're still on pace. They're doing good. They're working at a good pace compared to some other contractors. So I think they'll still meet the schedule. That's pretty much all I have. And like I said, they're at 50%. That last section was only like 200 feet of pipe. So they're still really at 50%. Any questions?
Thank you, Sam. Council, any questions for Sam, our engineer? Outstanding. I'd like to add something really quick. We, with what's going on Tonkawa Pass and that intersection there, Stephen is there every day along with Sam. Stephen has sent out multiple emails to myself, Nancy, and Sam about the tie-ins and whatnot to take place at Tonkawa Pass. And working with the residents and business owners, like Ms. Blackwell there, to make sure that we are all in lockstep together. Stephen didn't like the plan that, actually you liked the plan, but it interfered with an event that's been planned for 3 months at the Blackwell business. And so we have adjusted fire, if you will, pushed the dates for the tie-in a couple days down the road to make sure we accommodate that. We appreciate our residents' patience and business owners' patience, specifically Ms. Blackwell. So, and Stephen and Sam, you guys are doing great work. Thanks for everything and keeping us safe,
No
watching the
problem.
project.
And with that tie-in, it's planned for the 14th.
Right.
And they will have a second crew out there. So
Awesome.
It's not just going to be one crew. They'll have 2 crews, so it should go a lot smoother than
Okay.
the first.
Can't wait. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 8, City Commission and Committee Reports, Recommendations, and Possible Actions. 8A is Planning and Zoning. 8A1, Final Plat combining a 1.4 acre tract and a 1.707 acre tract to create a 3.107 acre tract to be known as Lot 1, Block 1, The Revival, located at 19186 FM 2252 and owned by Eric T. Fisher, and receive a recommendation from Planning and Zoning Commission. Karim, as the chair, please proceed. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good evening, council, mayor. Planning and zoning met on November 8th, and planning and zoning approved the recommendation for city council to approve the final replat, combining the 1.4 acre tract and the 1.707 acre tract to create the 3.107 acre tract to be known as Lot 1, Block 1, the Revival, located at 19186 FM 2252, owned by Mr. Fisher. So,
And what was the recommendation again from planning and zoning?
the approval for city council for the approval.
And it
to
was a
approve
unanimous
it.
vote, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Krim. Council, to remind you, we voted in favor of the preliminary plat. What this is the final plat. The owner of the properties had another month, if you will, to make any changes or recommended changes that we had. We had no recommended changes. So we went before planning and zoning. They approved the final plat, and so it's before us tonight to do the same thing, should you choose to do that. Remember, this has nothing to do with the business going in. It is the owner of the property combining the two plots of land together to form one plat. That's all this is. So Cynthia, am I missing anything there? Nancy, anything to add? Okay. Council, discussion.
I'm good with the recommendation.
Lisa? Jesse?
Yes, just like you said, Mayor, I listened to the comments earlier, but they had nothing to do with what goes there. It's just a replat. I mean, the planning into two properties, so, and legally, we can't, do anything with it, so I support recommendation.
Okay.
Agree, it's in compliance with our master plan.
Okay. So with that, if there's no further discussion, can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the final plat combining a 1.4 acre tract and a 1.707 acre tract to create a 3.107 acre tract to be known as Block 1, Block 1, the Revival, located at 19186 FM 2252, owned by Eric Fisher.
We have a motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Okay.
Thank you.
Karim, do you have any other updates?
No, we are meeting next week on December 13th, and the only item on the agenda is we're going to be having a little planning and zoning one-on-one, since we have some new members coming, and so just kind of a refresher to the planning and zoning commissioners.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, anything for the chair of our Planning and Zoning Commission? Okay, thanks so much. On to item number 8B, Water Commission. Jim? I'll go ahead and start out reading B1, ordinance number 61-08, 2022, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, establishing the drought management plan for the City of Garden Ridge, establishing trigger points and demand reduction measures, providing a variance procedure, providing a penalty for violations of this ordinance, providing a cumulative and savings clause, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date. 1-1, receive recommendation and take action on a variance request to use city water for future construction of a pool at 20103 Regency Run, Garden Ridge, Texas. Chairman Jim Mueller, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor and Council. As we went through these variance requests, we have several of them tonight, as you can see from the agenda. I just want to note to everybody that we go to Section 7, Paragraph C of Ordinance 61 there that talks about that. There's several items in there. I won't go through and read all of those different items, but that's a litmus test, and there's probably about 4 to 5 items, depending on how you count them, that we need to consider while we were going through this. Now with that, for the first recommendation, to to use city water for the future construction of a pool. When we looked at this, first of all, you've seen that there's a very large detailed documentation from the homeowner that was in your packets. One thing we noticed about this, that we really appreciate the homeowner's efforts for water conservation. When you look at all the things he's doing in there, I just want to bring this up, but he is reorganizing his septic system and stuff to try to conserve some of that septic water and use that to water some of his lawn, which we thought was great as he goes through there. Unfortunately, when we looked at this whole, the request, the total request that's in there, one of the things that is a requirement for a variance according to the code is undue hardship on the residents. As we looked at this, we thought shipping in the water was not an undue hardship on the resident, and that's eventually what led the commission there to unanimously decide to recommend to City Council to not approve this variance. I think it's back over to you, sir, if there's any further questions or any more detail the council wants me to go into on this request.
Thank you, Jim. Council, I know you've taken the time to read the request for variance. Just to make sure we clarify this, this ordinance 61, our drought ordinance, allows us to look at as a council request for variance to our water ordinance. It's different from forming convening as a board of adjustment for building something according to our planning and zoning. So it's completely different. That's why we can be up here, and that's why there's no public hearing. It goes before the Water Commission and then comes to you. So the homeowner in this case put together a lot of research, and the homeowner should be commended on what he is doing to help conserve water, and by redesigning his septic system and the spray system to water a good portion of his yard in order to make that happen. He had to work with Comal County to do that, and he should be commended for that. So any questions on his request? To my right and to my left. So, but the request for variance, if you read item C and the four things there, that the requested variance does not violate the intent of the drought regulations, that the relief sought will not cause significant harm to any other person or group of persons, or result in the city of Garden Ridge being in violation of regulatory requirements. 3, that the granting of a variance will be in harmony with the spirit and purpose of these regulations. And 4, that the hardship is in no way the result of the applicant's own actions. We are not asking him or requesting on behalf of the city that he build a pool. We are in stage 2. We've been in stage 2 restrictions for over a year. We've issued violations to a number of residents and our customers for violating stage 2 as far as watering times and days. And I don't know how long we'll be in stage 2. That's up to the rain. So maybe Chris Suchan, Channel 4 News, can help us out. But when we get enough rain that the Edwards Aquifer fills up again and SAWS comes out of their restrictions, then we will follow suit. But until that time, we have no choice but to remain in stage 2. So for us, I don't think that this request, in my opinion, request for variance qualifies under what Ordinance 61 says it can qualify for. So, and Jim, what was the recommendation again from Water Commission?
The recommendation was to council not approve this request for variance.
And that was a unanimous vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that, I'll start on my left. Kay, any questions or comments?
No, sir.
Jesse?
No, I applaud also him for doing the change with the septic system. I was actually thinking of doing the same thing. I just hadn't looked into it yet. But again, I don't agree to trading off that water, conservation for this. And I agree with that. These 4 items are not met, any of them met to grant the variance.
Lisa?
I certainly agree with your recommendation. While, like everybody else, I appreciate his conservation efforts, I agree that this doesn't show unnecessary hardship.
Kelly?
So we're telling this person they can't build their pool.
We're not saying
Okay,
they
I'm
can't
just making
build a
sure.
pool.
I've
So
read through this, and it's,
What he's requesting is that he can fill his pool, 29,000 gallons, with city water. So in stage 2, according to ordinance 61, we don't allow that to happen because it would go over his monthly usage, stage 2.
Right.
And in stage 2, we don't grant new permits to build a new pool.
Gotcha.
So we're saying that he can't, not saying he can't build a pool at all. I know that once we come out of stage 2, it's going to be an amazing pool. But we're saying he can't fill it with city water in stage 2 while we're here. We won't always be there. Did that clarify it?
Number 8 up here says, "No building permits will be issued for the construction of a new swimming pool. The city administrator, now city manager, may grant a variance to construct the swimming pool with proof of water for construction will be filled, actually trucking it in, basically, bringing it from outside. So that is allowable, so that's what we're saying."
Right. He can truck it in, but he can't do it during stage 2. Does that clarify it? Thanks, Jesse.
good.
Okay, with that, council, do you have any motions?
I make a motion to accept the Water Commission's recommendation and deny this variance request as written.
We have a motion to deny the request for variance as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I think Lisa just under the wire. Any further discussion? I'll call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimously, we uphold the recommendation to not approve the request for variance for 20103 Regency Run in Garden Ridge, Texas. On to item number 1-2, receive recommendation to take action on variance to stage 2 watering restrictions for 8922 Comanche Path, Garden Ridge, Texas. Jim.
Thank you, sir. Okay, this variance was a request to water more than that is allowed in the ordinance 61 due to new landscaping being put in at this residence. I think it's important to note, first of all, that the commission has looked at this before, and we have talked about this issue in the past. It's been a while, but this has come up before, and we looked at this about watering with new landscaping, and ultimately, we decided not to make any change to the ordinance when we were looking at ordinance 61 about a year ago, and the reason that was because the ordinance still does allow hand watering, and it's very difficult to define what new landscaping would be. When we had this discussion before, we're like, okay, can you water if you're just seeding? What about sod? And it got a little bit crazy. What if it's just a new tree? So we said, okay, leave it like it is, that there's a process to put in variances, and you can also water by hand. So there's a couple of ways to go ahead and execute this if you have new landscaping put in. Now, back to this one, this was a significant amount of sod that was brought in to resurface a front lawn, because as we know, all of us, our lawns have probably all been taking a pretty severe beating that's been going on here. When we looked at this, we could have argued an undue hardship, certainly perhaps for this first resident. There's some mobility issues there. So there is a possibility to argue in that area. What I will say is this lawn has already been put in. It was put in, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't have the exact date, but it was put in before our Water Commission meeting. And also there was the request was not very specific. It was watering for 3 times a week with no start or stop or anything like that. So without it being very specific, and frankly, we were looking at it and we think it was a little bit late to need. And we also wanted proof that this was, that the homeowner was installing drought-resistant grass, which is required by the ordinance to make sure that this request was in the spirit of the ordinance. So with all those considerations that we looked at there, our unanimous recommendation was to not approve the variance for the Stage 2 watering restrictions for 8922 Comanche Path.
Council, I think Jim Mueller summed it up very well. I don't have anything to add on this. I'll go to my left. Kay, any comments?
No, I concur. I think you made it pretty clear. And to approve it would just set a terrible precedent, I think. Thank you for the clarity.
Jesse? Thanks, Ken.
Yes, I support the Water Commission's recommendation on this. I drove by both properties, this one and the next one. It is a very significant part of the front yard that was resodded with grass. Very little xeriscape or anything else was done. You know, it's the wrong time of year, you know, during water restrictions and, you know, to be doing this. So I think it was poor planning. Spend that much money that they said they were doing in doing that. So many people have managed to maintain their watering by watering once a week and hand watering their yards as best they can, and it's worked. So I support the Water Commission's recommendation.
Thank you, Jesse. Lisa?
I agree with what's been said already.
Thanks, Lisa. Kelly?
I agree. I put some sod down. I've been hand watering for the last 2 months, so.
Okay, thank you. I think it goes without saying, while we're sympathetic, we're pretty clear in our voice here. So with the recommendation from the Water Commission, can I get a motion to approve their recommendation?
I move to approve the recommendation as presented by the Water Commission Chair.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the recommendation from the Water Commission Chair, which is to deny the request for variance. Can I get a second?
Second.
Jesse under the wire. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and we support the decision, the recommendation from the Water Commission to deny the request for variance for 8922 Comanche Path, Garden Ridge, Texas. That moves us on to 1-3, receive recommendation and take action on variance to Stage 2 watering restrictions for 8918 Comanche Path, Garden Ridge, Texas. Jim, is there anything further to add for this request for variance?
No, sir, it's the exact same as the previous request for variance. Well, essentially the same.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions about this request for variance, which is identical to the previous one?
Same.
Okay, same comments. With that, do we have a motion to approve the recommendation to deny the request for variance?
I move to approve the recommendation to deny the request for the variance at 8918 Comanche Path.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second the motion?
Nice job. We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. The request for variance for 8918 Comanche Path, Garden Ridge, Texas, to Stage 2 water restrictions is denied. All right, Jim, you're still on for number 2, monthly update as applicable.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think I have anything else to add there. I've been up here for probably 3 times as long as I usually am. So what I will say there is, though, is our next Water Commission meeting is on December 19th at 6 p.m. right here.
Thanks, Jim. Council, anything else for Jim Mueller? Water Chair. Thank you so much. All right, on to item number 8C, Parks Committee. He hasn't gone into hibernation yet.
That's right.
As the chair of the tri-chairs of the Parks Committee approaches, Rod Chamberlain, outstanding job to all of you for our 9th annual tree lighting. The floor is yours, sir. Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Appreciate the opportunity. Our last general membership meeting was on November the 8th, and our next general meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, December the 13th at 9:30 a.m. in the Bluebonnet Room at the Community Center. Our focus of this meeting will be on doing a triage of the celebration that we had this last Friday for the Christmas tree lighting. As far as what's happened since our last meeting with you, the Parks Committee had the privilege of hosting the city's 9th annual Christmas tree lighting celebration last Friday, December 1st. And with any great celebration, you need to set the table. And I will have to say, Chris Shushan, meteorologist from Channel 4, did an outstanding job setting our table. The pictures were fantastic. The scenery was wonderful. Temperatures in the very low 70s, clear night, and a spectacular sunset as a backdrop for the lighting of our Christmas tree. Based on feedback from various sources, we estimated
that our attendance was north of 400. And no one's surprise, Santa Claus was a hit of the celebration. As Santa was leaving to go back to his workshop in North Pole, I had an opportunity to talk to Santa, and he expressed how much he appreciated visiting our fair city and spending time with some of our youngsters and some of our young at heart older people. Santa told me he enjoyed talking with the children, and while there were several special conversations he really enjoyed, one touched his heart very dear, and that is a conversation he had with a young gentleman named Wyatt. Wyatt could not believe Santa actually came to Garden Ridge. In fact, Wyatt was so excited that he came back to visit Santa numerous times, and it just left Santa so impressed to know that there was so much belief and so much joy out there that it really, in his opinion, we had a huge success with our celebration. Not to be overlooked, even if that's possible, our new Christmas tree was a big hit. What better way to light our tree and announce to everyone Christmas holiday season has come to Garden Ridge than the tree lighting Christmas spirit switch built by Mr. Lohman. He did an outstanding job coming up with the idea and the fabrication. The spirit switch for the lighting of our new tree, he did a great job. Hats off to him. Letters to Santa, hosted by our very own library, team led by Linda Crossland, making sure children were able to send a letter to Santa, and promoting their upcoming gingerbread house contest. A reminder, all entries must be in by the 12th, and the winner will be announced the 16th during the Santa story time at the library, starting at 10:30 in the morning. GRES Choir, what a powerful and great voice. GRES Choir got everyone in the spirit by singing the Christmas carols. They kicked it off really top-notch. Hats off to their director. Low Place Legends picked up where GRES Choir left off and kept the holiday spirit going, and until Santa arrived. Our sponsors and contributors were outstanding. We could not have done it without them. Audi North Park, Santa's Candy Raffles in the Snow Globe, Black Rifle Coffee Company, obviously coffee, hot and cold, Korea Realty Group, hot cocoa with or without marshmallows. We have choice here. Low Place Legends, live holiday music, GRES Choir, the 4th and 5th grade choir, directed under Jenny Jeske. N2 Company publishes the Stroll of Garden Ridge magazine. Nothing But Cakes, promotion of buy one, get one free coupons. Revelation Church, the invocation by Pastor Robert Denard. Veteran Air, face painting, popcorn, and co-sponsor on the Snow Globe. And Urus Roofing Company, juicy and delicious hot dogs. The next time you visit with any of our sponsors, please let them know how much you appreciate them supporting our community. And in addition to our contributors and sponsors, we also brought together about 110-plus people that I would consider our top shelf support team. It starts with City Hall. They were there to support us all the way. Followed with our very own City Council giving support to the team. And Public Works, big call out to them for assisting the Parks Committee and setting up all of the outside decorations, including the new tree, the majestic tree. The Police Department, outstanding job on traffic control. GRCPAA, Garden Ridge Elementary School, opening up their premises for us to have traffic control and parking available. Davenport High School, National Honor Society, 10 very special young individuals. Garden Ridge Women's Club and GRCPAA made all of those delicious hot dogs. And volunteers from our city manned the hot cocoa station. Wendy the Elf, Santa's very own special support team and specialty builder of gingerbread houses. We had to outsource it to Mr. Shelby Trowell came in. We would not have been able to help set the table for our 9th annual Christmas tree lighting without the dedication and support given by my fellow team members, Linda P., Linda V., Dr. Jim, Dr. Lee, Dave, Marilyn, and Kathy. At this time, I'd like to basically turn over to you, Mr. Mayor, if you have any suggestions or comments from the council as well.
Council, I'll turn it over to you. Anything for Rod Chamberlain?
Fantastic job. That was great time had by all. And Chris brought us the sunset, and it was just picture perfect.
The weather was
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, Kelly. Lise?
Great job, thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse?
Yeah, great job. I like the fact you had hot dogs instead of having food trucks there. That was kind of a good add-on. You know, the coffee, all those extra sponsors, I think was brought a positive. I know the snow globe was a big hit, so.
I didn't,
Good work.
I didn't see you inside it, though. Okay. Okay.
Thanks, Jesse. Kay?
I felt guilty just driving up and enjoying it. You guys did a spectacular job again. It just gets better every year. So I would hope, I really hope our citizens will take the time to offer praise and even ideas for things they would like to see differently, because it's such an effort on your part and the committee's part for both 4th of July and the Christmas tree. You know, constructive criticism be great, but just to hear more about, don't take these things for granted, you know? It's a lot of hard work. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
Rod, you guys work so hard to make these things happen. You make it look effortless. And thank you for what the Parks Committee does, and thank you for your leadership. Doesn't happen without you. Some more praise as we go along to everybody. Specifically, Rod, you thanked city staff and the city council. I want a big shout out to Public Works and Drew and Ryan for being the number one guys to really put the tree together and watching it unfold literally over the course of a week, which is a week shorter than it takes to put together our former Christmas trees, the 3 poles, Festivus for the rest of us. So a huge shout out to you guys and all your work. And then one more shout out to Eric Lohman for building that majestic Christmas spirit switch. He put a lot of effort into that. I based on his wishes, I did not go see it until he was there to surprise me with it. So we did that literally Friday afternoon before he had to leave to go someplace else. So please tell him thank you. I love it, and we all loved it. And Chris Suchan wants to move to Gardner Ridge. He told me that specifically. So thank you all. Thanks, Rod. Merry Christmas.
And Chris did have us on the news Monday afternoon, yeah.
That's awesome. He loves Gardner Ridge. All right. That concludes item number 8. On to item number 9, approvals and authorizations. The following items are for discussion, consideration, and action. 9A, resolution number 512-12-2023, a resolution of votes cast to elect Board of Directors for the Comal Appraisal District for years 2024 through 2025. So, Council, I know you've seen who is on the ballot. I've reached out to a number of individuals from Comal County, and I have received no recommendations from anybody with the 5 individuals that are on the ballot. So, Council, do you have any recommendations or know any of these individuals? I have a recommendation, but only after you guys go, okay? Jesse, anything?
Spots are open, just one.
We have 25 total votes available.
How many positions on the? Yeah. Huh? There's 5 openings?
Yeah,
Oh.
all 5, right.
Okay.
Lisa? Kelly?
I know one slightly, but I couldn't give a recommendation yet, so.
Okay. My only recommendation, I have 2 recommendations. One, we could, if we don't know anybody, just to be fair, it's only 25 votes out of hundreds. We could split them. We have 5 candidates, 5 times 5, they each get 5 votes, since we don't know anybody. So, or we could cast them all for James Long from Comal ISD. So I didn't receive a recommendation from the person I asked about that. So what do you think? 5 for 5?
Say 5.
Residents?
No. None that we know of live in Gardner Ridge, which is what we've done before. 5 for 5?
5 for 5, yeah.
Okay, so if we're 5 for 5, can I get a motion to support that? Lisa?
I move to approve resolution number 512-122023 to cast 5 votes for each of the 5 candidates to elect Board of Directors for the Comal Appraisal District for the years 2024, 2025. Does that work?
Second.
We have a well-spoken motion to approve 5 for 5, and we have a second. Any further discussion? Call it for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, each person gets 5 votes from the city of Garden Ridge. Thank you. On to item number 9B. I'm going to read this all aloud like we always do. Resolution number 513-12-2023, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, authorizing and approving membership in the cities served by CenterPoint Gas Cities for the purpose of protecting the interest of the city and its citizens with respect to CenterPoint matters. Further suspending the December 4, 2023 effective date of the Statement of Intent of CenterPoint Energy Resources Corporation, DBA CenterPoint Energy NTEX, and CenterPoint Energy Texas Gas to change rates in the Texas division. To permit the city time to study the request and to establish reasonable rates. Finding that the city's reasonable rate case expenses shall be reimbursed by the company. Authorizing participation with the city served by CenterPoint Gas. Hiring legal and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation and appeals. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed is open to the public and as required by law, requiring notice of this resolution to the company and legal counsel. Nancy, I defer to you to reintroduce this to council along with you and Cindy.
All right, on October 30th, the city received notice that CenterPoint Energy NTEX and CenterPoint Energy Texas Gas has filed statement of intent for change in rates with the Railroad Commission. As you all received a copy of the statement of intent to change rates, it is extremely complex. And what this resolution will do is allow us to join a coalition of other cities in the state of Texas that are served by CenterPoint Energy in conjunction with the law firm of Lloyd, Gosling, Rochelle, and Townsend. They will evaluate the intent that, rate change intent that NTEX has, or CenterPoint has filed, along with, this will be a coalition of all cities that are served by this, the gas and, or the utility entity. They will study it and they will advise the cities throughout that process. There may be some other resolutions in the future that we may have to approve supporting findings of that study. We have joined in the coalitions a couple of times before. We have not had to pay any legal expenses. They are covered by CenterPoint. They were asking for us to file this resolution or approve this resolution by December 4th. So what will happen is any increases will be postponed for 90 days, very similar to the GRIP increases. However, even though we would have been, our date was past December 4th, this law firm has said, file your resolution and send it to us. We received word yesterday that the suspension date has been extended out till January 27th. So if council does choose to approve the resolution to participate in the coalition and postpone the implementation of the gas rate, of any increases, your motion would need to state that the resolution be amended for a suspension date of January 27th, 2024. Are there any questions? I know that's a lot. I don't think I can.
Thanks, Nancy. Cynthia, anything to add? It's fairly straightforward, yes?
It is very straightforward, and it is always our recommendation that y'all go with Boyd Rossman for these services.
So you support this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nancy, anything else?
No?
Council, discussion.
Support.
Okay, the hardest part's going to be coming up with the right motion, correct?
Just say what she said.
Marissa, what do we need to state, 27 January 2024?
Yeah, you can just say that you approve, and you can say the resolution number. You don't need to read the whole resolution. I just mainly need the number and with the amendment of January 27th, 2024 effective date.
Kelly, did you get that? He's writing it down. All right.
Go for it.
Do we have a
Various
motion to
coverage.
approve with said amendment?
All right. Motion to approve resolution number 513-122023 with an amended effective date of January 27th, 2024.
We have a motion to approve with amended effective date. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, under the wire. Nice job. We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion with amended date passes. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Cynthia. Great job, Kelly. All right, moving on to item number 9C, ordinance number 7012-2023, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, amending the regulations of the Police Department for the City of Garden Ridge, providing for the appointment and position of the Police Department, appointment and composition of the Police Department, providing for findings of fact, savings, severability, repealer, and effective date, and proper notice and meeting. To introduce this, and then I'll give it to Nancy. This original ordinance was written long ago, certainly before we were home rule, back when we were general law type A city. Now that we are home rule, we needed to make an amendment, specifically coming up with a position known as the Assistant Chief of Police, which helps our chief and the department with some functionality. Nancy, anything to add before we give it to the chief?
No, I think you thoroughly covered it, Mayor.
Chief Ron?
Yes, this helps clarify structure issues along with bringing our old ordinance up to current standards.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Council, anything to add? Any discussion? It's pretty straightforward. All right, if there's no further discussion, can I get a motion to approve as written?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 70-122023, the ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, amending the regulation for the Police Department of the City of Garden Ridge, et cetera.
Well spoken. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, on to item number 9D, ordinance number 210-10-2022, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, adopting board and commission policies and procedures, providing a cumulative and savings clause, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date. 9D1, interview panel recommendation for appointment to Planning and Zoning Commission. Nancy, I'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, on November 13th and 14th, the interview panel consisting of Mayor Erickson, Planning and Zoning Commission Chair Karim Jackelman, and myself interviewed 4 candidates for 2 vacancies that are open on the Planning and Zoning Commission. All 4 candidates that were interviewed were fantastic candidates, and it was a difficult decision on our part as to who to recommend. However, the interview panel unanimously recommends the appointment of Gwen Estrada and Richard Howard to serve as commissioners on the Planning and Zoning Commission, with each serving a term expiring on September 30th, 2025. And both candidates are available in the audience tonight.
Thank you, Nancy. Gwen and Richard, you guys, since you're here, do you want to just come forward so everybody can put a face to a name? Or a name to a face? Thank you for being here and sitting through December's meeting. Welcome to being a commissioner. So, council, remember, well over a year ago, we made a change to ordinance number 210, where we decided to, rather than having during a public commission meeting, an interview process with candidates coming forward to volunteer to be part of, in this case, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and later the Water Commission. Rather than doing that in public, what we wanted to do was save some time and create efficiencies with this process and have an interview panel with the mayor or pro tem, the city manager, and the chairman of the chairperson of the commission that we're interviewing positions for. We give them all the same amount of time. We ask 2 questions each. They all get the same questions. Just like Nancy said, the 4 that were interviewed are incredibly qualified. The ones that we chose, a very hard decision, were Gwen and Richard, based on their qualifications and their interviews with us. And you've read their bios and their resumes. Do you guys have any questions for myself, Nancy, or Karim in this case? Or of Richard and Gwen? Jesse?
I was very impressed with both resumes, so good to have y'all volunteer. Thank you.
Outstanding. Kay, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, just thank you very much for stepping up and volunteering.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Everybody interviewed extremely well. Thank you for your time. We're going to leverage, based on the vote that I think is coming, we're going to leverage your experience and knowledge to the betterment of Planning and Zoning Commission and the City of Garden Ridge. So thank you so much. Council, if you don't have any questions for them, can I get a motion to approve Gwen and Richard to the appointment on the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I move to approve the appointment of Gwen Estrada and Richard Howard to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
We have a motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for volunteering, and congratulations. Thank you so much. Outstanding. Thanks. Thanks for volunteering.
See you next week.
See you next week. That's right. And we have some training to accomplish next week. On to item number 9D2, interview panel recommendation for appointment to Water Commission. Nancy?
Well, during our interviews of the 4 candidates that had applied for the Water Commission, for the Planning and Zoning Commission vacancies, each candidate was asked if they would consider serving on the Water Commission if they were not chosen for the Planning and Zoning Commission. And out of the 4 candidates, we had 2 that said yes. And after our the interview panel, we were like, wow, we can fill a vacancy on the Water Commission while we're doing this. Mayor Erickson contacted the Water Commission Chairman Mueller and talked to him about the candidates that were interviewed and about what we had experienced with the candidates. And he explained to him that we had a recommendation to fill the Water Commission, one of the Water Commission vacancies. And Chairman Miller supported the interview panel's recommendation to appoint Steve Stedman to serve as Commissioner on the Water Commission for a term expiring on September 30th, 2024.
Steve, I know you're out there.
Yes,
Want to
he
come
is.
on up so we can put a name to a face and a place? So we all asked two questions. I started and then I ended with my second question. That question was, hey, would you be interested, like Nancy said, in a position on the Water Commission? And two of our interviewees said yes. One said no, and one couldn't do it just based on schedule on Tuesday nights when we usually have these meetings. So like Nancy said, I said, hey, let's create efficiencies with this and make a recommendation for Steve to be put on the Water Commission. I talked to Jim Mueller, and then I talked to Cynthia to make sure it was okay, because technically Jim Mueller wasn't present for the interviews. So by saying yes to Steve Stedman on the Water Commission, you would be saying, hey, it's okay to do this. So Cynthia, anything I missed there? Okay. Council, anything for Steve, other than thanks?
By the
Okay.
way, Stephen, I also interviewed for planning and zoning first, didn't get selected, kind of got on water also the same way, so. And then got back on P and Z later, so. Right.
Steve actually was in the Water Commission meeting last week, so, yeah. So he is ready and raring to go. Council, if there's no further discussion, can I get a motion to approve? Jesse's working on it.
I move to approve
Faster.
the appointment of Steve Stedman to serve as a commissioner on our Water Commission
Good job,
for a term
Dave.
expiring September 30th, 2024.
We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Welcome. Merry Christmas. Thank you. All right, continuing on, we're on a roll here. 9E, Board of Adjustment Appointments. Okay, one of the things that this has changed through my tenure as both on council and as the mayor. As a council, we used to convene as a board of, we used to actually kind of leave it in planning and zoning's purview to make recommendations for requests for variance out of planning and zoning coming to us. Upon retrospect, we found that that was not legally sufficient totally, so it was necessary that we took that from planning and zoning and just put it on the council to make recommendations. And remember, all of you have convened as a board of adjustment. After that is legal to do for general law type A city, now that we are home rule, it is not in our best interest to do that. So part of our home rule charter was to establish a separate board of adjustment for the city of Garden Ridge. And after our home rule charter passed by 74.4% of the vote in the last general election, we decided, hey, we need to come up with a board of adjustment. We decided upon 5 primary members and 1 alternate. The Board of Adjustment members don't fall under Ordinance 210, since the Board of Adjustment has judicial power established by state law. The Board of Adjustment must adopt their own policies and procedures. Once they do that, after training and adoption of those policies and procedures, it'll come to you for a vote of approval through resolution. So you still have the final say in that. So it's taken many months to have volunteers who have agreed to say yes from the city of Garden Ridge, and I will read those volunteers aloud. Veronica Garcia, David Krasinski, Colonel Roy Leatherberry, Dr. Liz Templeman, and Autumn Flanagan. Our alternate member would be Jennifer Dalton. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of those candidates have already served on a commission. David Krasinski was the president of the Wildlife Advisory Commission for a long time. Colonel Leatherberry was on Planning and Zoning. Dr. Liz Templeman was part of our Home Rule Charter Commission, if you remember that, and so was Autumn Flanagan. And then Dr. Veronica Garcia has agreed to also serve in this capacity, and she is with, Northside Lakeview College over in Universal City in Live Oak. So, and Jennifer Dalton needs no introduction to all of us. So, council, any questions about these candidates at all? I'll start on my right. Kelly.
No questions at all. I think this is a stellar list.
Definitely the varsity lineup. Lisa.
Yes, A-team all the way, thanks.
Jesse.
Agree, support.
Kay.
Totally.
Totally. Okay. I know many of them are in the audience tonight, but in the interest of time, we will, we have faces to names already, so, and places. If you concur with our recommendations from the mayor and Nancy, can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the Board of Adjustment, including the alternate member as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. I think Kelly made that one just under the wire. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations to the new members of our Board of Adjustment. There'll be some more emails coming from Nancy in the near future about meeting times and lots of training. And this is a huge volunteer moment for all of these people. So thank you so much. I think that deserves a round of applause. Thanks. And if there's any question in that, you can go back and watch the April 5th Board of Adjustment meeting and see what they get to do. So awesome. Thank you all for being here and for volunteering. All right, on to item number 9F, contract service for services related to city logo on Shanethal Road well site water storage tank. All right, I'll introduce this. Okay, or reintroduce it if we can. So this has been an endeavor that we've been working on for 18 months or so, Nancy, yeah? So a long time, so long in fact that it's, we've already budgeted $19,000 in fiscal year 24's budget for this that we approved last summer. We've been working with McGuire Iron Incorporated to help put this together. There's been a tremendous amount of work from Kay Bauer on this. So Kay, thank you for everything you've done for this endeavor, this specific part of city signage. Thank you to the city staff and Nancy, and also thank you to Michael Bruck from McGuire Iron Incorporated, who has given us a bid for this. What we want to do with all the hard work that Kay has done, it's time for us to put this over the goal line, should you so choose, so that we can act on this and actually paint our water ground storage tank with a welcome sign from to the city of Garden Ridge. There have been many different designs that have come forward. This is the one that we talked about last month, not necessarily the color, but last month as far as having Garden Ridge wide across the tank so it's more easily visible from the road, Naturally Home right underneath that, and then trying to use all of the colors, or many of the colors of our palette that you approved a year and a half ago. So let's discuss. Kay, do you want to start out the discussion?
I certainly, I do I concur that I still like the placement, if you will, of the name and the Naturally Home and the logo on the left, but I am concerned about the colors. because I don't, for identity purposes, because we're going into the future item, we're going into the Parks Committee signage, and it's not consistent, and that's something you do want with any, marketing plan, that you have consistency. So I don't really understand the top, this is not something I was aware of, the top band, I'm sorry, I'm drawing it, the top band, if you will, around the tank. And I thought we had talked about 2 shades of green rather than the rust. So I'm confused.
So we had talked about the green on the bottom getting, with rain and whatnot, getting mudded out, if you will. I don't think that's a term, but with dirt getting on there. And it looks not the rust color, but it looks brown, but it's supposed to be our darker shade of green is what it's supposed to be. They couldn't quite match that on that, but it's supposed to be that color palette. So the darker green, rather than it looks brown there with black, if that makes sense.
Okay, I'm confused. So assuming that the bottom is the rust because of what you said, and I remember that discussion, but what are you saying is green on here?
So the top ring and Garden Ridge and the G of the Garden Ridge is actually green. It's our darker palette green. If that makes sense. His team had a real hard time putting that specific color
No,
on
I'm
this
sure.
ring.
I'm sure it doesn't translate.
Yeah.
It's a little non-specific in the contract. It doesn't state the color palette from which he's selecting, and I think we ought to identify that because based on our marketing proposal that we received from the Dallas group.
Okay.
And I thought the R in the logo itself was to be a lighter green. Like, in other words, 2 shades of green rather than continue the rust up into the R?
That was based on input from me and a few others on that was too much green and using a more full color palette. So other than the 2 shades of green that we had before.
Okay.
Jesse.
I'm good with now that you explained the different colors, I'm good with the design. I understand, having it just in 1 line versus 2 lines, because you can read it otherwise from a distance, so I understand the changes and why they're done, so I'm good with the proposal.
Lisa.
I've always been pro-green, but I can understand that lighter green might be an issue. I can be willing to compromise on that if it makes sense.
Okay. Kelly.
All right, I've got a lot to say. So, guys, this is a tough decision. This is what I deal with my clients on an everyday basis on, and choosing a brand. And when you choose a brand, you stick with it, you run with it, and you don't stray from it. And first off, the company that this was designed right before I came on council. I don't know why they submitted 2 different color palettes to us, completely opposite color palettes to us in the first place. I'm not saying I don't like that version, but we've run with this other version, and I don't know if you've got a picture of the other version, but we've run with this other version on everything. Your email has this brand on it. Our letterhead, our envelopes, every bit of we have it on Public Works trucks now. Every bit of our branding has encompassed the green, what we call the green logo. And if you go down this road, then you need to make sure you change and do everything in the brown, because it's very confusing. You don't see Selma putting their blue and green logo and changing it to orange and blue. I mean, you don't see that. You don't see AT&T. When you think of AT&T, what color do you think of? Blue. They don't change it to yellow. They don't, and that's something that we have to look at, because we're spending a lot of money, and this is kind of all of our legacy in a way. This branding was great. You know, it is great. It hits home. Garden Ridge, I don't see any, when I think of garden, I don't see any brown unless I just killed my garden. And that's the hard time I have with this. You know, Audi, it's either black or they're chrome. You know, they don't change, they don't veer from that. And that's the challenge I have with this. So if we're just voting tonight on, if we're approving the $19,995 to move forward with the project and not so much voting on the color yet, I'm all for it. But if this is packaged as one and that's the color we're sticking with it, I'm not for it. I'm not for it. I would beg everybody to really think hard on this one, please, because just like Kate, there's something after this on the next menu, next line item. That the mock-up she has is the green, right? So you don't want to have brown signs on here and green signs on the other. I've been doing this for 30 years. You don't want to do that. So if we're going to go brown, you got to go all out. You've got to do it. You can't sit there and go back and forth between green and brown and green and brown. The only times companies change color sometimes is like October. They'll do pink. They'll throw their logo in pink, right, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But that's my 2 cents. And but I wanted to clarify: are we voting just on the contract itself, or are we voting on that actual design?
So those are really, really good comments, and I'm 100% swayed. So no, go back to your color palette you just had. So would you say the bottom left there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not about to not have consensus on this. So you like the bottom left?
Correct.
Lisa? Jesse?
I support Kelly's comment there, to keep the colors the same.
Okay. Okay, so if we change back to that color font with the horizontal, everybody's good, and we can say proceed and execute the contract, you can give it to city staff and mayor, go forth and do it. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would want one last proof from them, so we know what the bar, the top and bottom bar is going to be. I think we agreed with the light green would be too light because of the dirt, so we probably want to do that the dark green, obviously on the. But I don't know about the top one. I don't know about the top ring on the top of the tower. Do you have a picture of the tower?
So do the dark ring on both the bottom and the top?
Well, it's one of those you don't know until you see it, right? I mean, a mock-up. So do you have the tower picture by chance? The brown one, yeah. You could do dark green at the bottom and then do the lighter green up top, so you're encompassing both colors. Or you do both dark green and maybe just have them mock up both for us and then we go from there. I mean, I hate to drag this out any longer. I mean, we all want it to happen, right?
We want it to happen. I don't want to drag it out any longer. It's time to execute. Let's go with the color palette in the bottom left, and we'll see what looks best on the bottom. I'm not worried about the light green on the bottom as much as I'm just making sure it looks nice. But if it's going to be a factor, then we can do the darker green ring on both top and bottom. So Nancy, what would we need to be sufficient with this?
I think designate which one that your preference is in the color and the direction of the logo in y'all's motion.
Horizontal.
The horizontal with the
Two-tone green.
Two-tone green. And then you can approve the contract if y'all are, but I would specify in the motion which logo and which color scheme.
All right, let's do this. We're going to have let's say, move to approve the contract with the horizontal two-tone green font and palette with dark green on top, light green on the bottom. I think that's what we had before. I think that'll look fine.
Dark?
I think dark green on the bottom would be better, but
Okay, dark green on the bottom, light green on top. All right, so let's specify that. Okay, so it would sound something like this. Move to approve city staff to execute the contract with McGuire Iron Incorporated for horizontal two-tone green palette, dark green ring on the bottom, light green ring on top. And then we can execute this contract and move forward. Kelly, is that sufficient, and are you happy with that?
I am as long as everybody else is.
Okay, Lise? Jesse? Okay.
I would just suggest a waving little pretty wolf hand on, somewhere on it.
that's separate.
Love it. Separate. All right. So what we would need is a motion to approve city staff to execute the contract with McGuire Iron Incorporated with the city logo, horizontal logo, two-tone green, dark green on bottom, light green on top. Let's be specific with it, and let's do this. Kelly, are you ready to make a motion? I think so. Great, go.
All right, motion to execute a contract with McGuire Iron Company with the horizontal two-tone city logo, green, and green font, with dark ring on the bottom and light green on top.
We have a motion from Kelly to approve the let city staff execute the contract with McGuire Iron Incorporated for the horizontal font, two-tone green, dark green on the bottom, light green on top. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good. Thank you, council. Kelly, that was great. It's awesome. Thank you. That's what we do. Good job. All right. It's not over. On to 9G, Paul Davis Park signage. Nancy, I'll introduce it and then
Okay.
and then let you talk from there. Okay. This specifically is the execution part of all of Kay's hard work for a year with our projects and city signage, city welcome signage. So Kay worked very hard to put all this together. It was time for it then to go to city staff to help execute this process. She came together with, you all received multiple bids from 3 different companies. What city staff and I have done is taken Kay's hard work and diligence and put it to you tonight for a possible vote for Paul Davis Park. 2 of the companies that came in, all of their bids were well over our budget. So Kay's direction and directive from us was to, hey, go see what's out there and come back with it to us. She did that, and so what we've done is taken it to keep it within budget, and that came down to one company, Boulder Designs. So Nancy, anything to add on that?
No, I'm sure everyone's read my memo about the size and the price points, as well as the alternates that can be added to the project that will still keep this Paul Davis Park sign under budget, and potentially that under budget will offset the $500 higher expense of the tanks, as well as perhaps do some landscaping around new signage at Paul Davis Park. City staff will demo the existing sign and move it to another location that is determined, I'm sure by council, is where they would want that sign to be the former sign to be erected. And Boulder Designs would utilize the existing foundation to place this new sign. And we're presenting two options to you tonight.
Nancy, hang on 2 seconds.
Sure.
Kate, this is your baby. Anything to add with this? I know you've read what we've put forward, so anything to add?
I'm sorry, I mean, I've got something I could comment on, but it's incorporated into like the additional cost.
Okay.
Prefer that now?
Nope,
Or-
I just
Okay.
want to give you the opportunity to talk, so.
No, well, okay. I just want to be sure. They do not note on their contract proposal the specific font. And going back to Kelly's earlier remarks, we want to be sure, because I did provide them with the fonts from our package, including the Ernie, which is naturally home. And it appears to me that they have replicated that as presented, because they gave me a mock-up of that. So assuming that that's what this is, then I would obviously, in continuance with what Kelly's saying. And I do like that they have done the dark green and light green logo.
Let's show those, Marissa.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the culmination of all of Kay's work, and then what city staff and Nancy have taken forward, and the company that came in within our budget. So, Nancy, did this cost include the graffiti coating?
Mm-mm.
'Cause I think that's important.
It's 450.
Okay, both options that were presented to council tonight, option 1 and I believe it was option 3, each one of those, base price is $4,389. And that is for the 10-foot wide by 5-foot tall by 12-inch thick sign placed on our existing foundation. Okay. They recommend putting a graffiti protectant on the sign. So if it is graffitied, it's much easier to clean and remove. That cost would be $450 added to the base price. They also will install a low voltage system, lighting system with a lifetime warranty for $789. My recommendation to council was to include the graffiti protectant as well as the low voltage lighting, because we're going to need some lighting so it shows off. And then a portion of remaining monies out of what was originally budgeted, $9,000, the difference, I think it comes to 3,920, no, I'm sorry.
4,000 to up to.
$3,372. Use some of that money to improve the landscaping around that sign there at the entrance. I did ask them to put the, okay, what you see on the signs is etched, and it's painted. The lettering is painted. I was told that was a 25-year warranty on the painting. Now, we could put raised metal letters. That increases the cost of the sign $3,925. Plus, the company did not really, they said they could do it, but they did not recommend that because mounting, where they would mount the letters could potentially crack, and we may not notice it right away. It may be something that comes up with time, and then that could affect the integrity of the sign itself in the future.
Awesome, Nancy. So the raised lettering, like Nancy said, they're really, really hesitant about that. They can make it happen, but remember, this is not a real rock. This is a huge resin-based boulder that they make for us specifically. If we want the raised lettering and they have to drill into it, they're going to do a great job of that. But like Nancy said, we may not see that hairline fracture that's going to be there. And then we have water and freezing potentially that happens, and suddenly we have a crack in our new sign that we don't really want. And then he also said that, hey, it's a 25-year guarantee on that paint, so that they'll etch into it. So when we talked about the graffiti cover on it, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that, because that's not a typical problem, knock on wood, that we have. However, Nancy reminded me that a few years ago that Paul Davis Park was vandalized with spray paint. We cleaned it up, and that's one of the things that led to our camera system there. So to hopefully prevent that, or a deterrent for that to happen. So my recommendation would be, let's make sure everybody knows this too, that with the old sign, we would demo that, but we would save whatever we could from that sign, specifically the Paul Davis Park metal structure, to be placed somewhere else inside of the park, perhaps at Pavilion 3 back there, with that stood up with another mounting with a plaque saying, hey, this is the original sign from Paul Davis Park. So we're not going to get rid of that. We will preserve as much of it, certainly the metal part, that we can. We will demo that, so we save that expense, and the Public Works will make that happen. We'll use the existing foundation to put this on there. I recommend that we approve the low voltage lighting, and then the rest of it we can use as nice landscaping around that, certainly xeriscape. So now what I think comes down to is discussion on, is this something we want to proceed with? And if so, which design do we want? There's two of them. They basically differ with where the Garden Ridge logo is placed. This one's in the middle, and the other one's to the side. I have no preference. This one's completely up to you if this is something that you guys want to act on. I'll start to my right. Kelly.
I don't have as much to say on this one. Okay, so I like that version the best. And they engrave, right? They engrave into the rock and then paint that that grooved out area, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That's my recommendation. I like the low voltage thing, and I think that's not a huge expense for having electric lighting. And at first I thought, when you said low voltage, I thought you were going to say it was a deterrent for, graffiti artists. But
Yeah.
Thanks, Kelly. So you like the middle? You like the etched, the low voltage lighting, and the graffiti cover?
yes, and you said that's 25 years.
That's what I was told, yes.
Okay. Okay. Because we know, I do know neighboring cities that have had issues with the groove, and they've went to the other version of the sign. So, but if it's 25 years, that means they're going to come out and fix it every time if it starts wearing and tearing, then that's excellent. That's a good warranty. I like that.
Okay, so you're in favor of the middle with the logo, low voltage, and $450 for the cover, the graffiti cover. Thank you. Lisa?
Same. I'm not going to repeat it all.
Okay.
Same.
Just making sure we get this right. Jesse?
Yes, same thing. I like the center, the GR in the center also. And I'm assuming that dark, the lettering is actually green then, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's your baby. Final words.
Oh, you're dreaming. First of all, thank you very much for your words of praise. I do appreciate it. Just to point out, several of the companies we dealt with were incredibly, to a person, they were not, they were somebody we would want to consider working with in the future when we do monument signs, gateway signs. I did investigate when this bid originally came through on the feasibility of lighting out there, and I spoke with Stephen, and he reminded me where the closest junction box would be, and it would be, I believe you said, relatively easily to drop a line. So my question is, where is Scott proposing, how far will, I mean, how much of the installation of the light is he going to do, or is he going to work with our department?
My understanding is they were going to do the work, doing the installation of the lighting system.
Okay.
We may have to bring the electrical closer to them.
Well, that's what I meant,
That's-
yeah.
I'm
So
sure
there may
that
be-
would be our responsibility,
there'd be a
but they
small-
would install.
Okay. And to the point about vandalism, I certainly concur on the vandalism code because not just this company, but a couple of the other companies also mentioned that raised lettering, as nice as it can look, is a little more subject to vandalism and a little harder to repair, even if it's a natural rock. So I think, and just so everybody in the audience understands, this is a representation of a rock, I mean, a stone, if you will. But I think it's a really elegant look, and I think it'll really work well. And I love the lighting idea, too, so that was their idea. So I'm totally on board with this version, coloring, the company, and so on.
All right. Those are great questions, Kay, and it would be our responsibility to bring the electricity to them. So, and Public Works will make that happen. So, okay. So, if, it sounds like we're all in agreement, what we would need is a motion to approve and execute, city staff to execute the contract as written, and the company is Boulder, what's it? Boulder Designs. To execute the contract with Boulder Designs for the middle logo with low voltage lighting and the graffiti cover. Was that sufficient, Marissa and Nancy? Okay. If so, Kay, you want to make a motion?
I move to approve the contract presented by Boulder Designs for implementation installation of the proposed center logo stone to include the low voltage lighting as well as the graffiti protectorant.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? I will call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Kay. We brought it across the goal line. Great work. Nancy, awesome. Council, great job. Everybody.
And I'm going to tell them that we want that identical stone.
Yes, that's, I mean, that's the design we want,
Right.
right?
But
Yeah,
don't-
that
but
was-
don't cut off the Y
Yep. No, that's,
or the S.
that was the design.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll talk to him about that.
great work. Thanks,
all gonna-
Nancy, Marissa, Kay.
Let's all sign the back before they put the graffiti coat on it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
installation
in.
date. and-
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. On to item number, that's great work, council. Thank you. Great work, Kay. On to item number 10, update city council projects. Lisa, 10A1, mitigation of growth and encroachment impacts on Garden Ridge. We actually have an update on this one.
Yeah, I've got a few updates on this one. Rob, Nancy, and I met with Mark White, who is a San Antonio council member for District 10, who covers our area, to reinvigorate the idea of having San Antonio release some of their ETJ to us. Now, in a sense, we've gone back to square one because Mark wasn't familiar, or Councilman White wasn't familiar with the information that was presented him, and the director of their planning department was no longer there, and they had an interim director in place. He had attended previous meetings, but he also didn't seem to have a recollection of some things. So we've kind of gone back to the drawing board. We really left their, still open to the opportunity, and we've kind of left it in our attorney's hands and their attorney's hands to go back and look at, all of the technicalities. There's some different laws in place with the last legislative session about ETJ, so we need to go back and relook at all of that. But happy to have it moving forward again.
Yeah, Lisa, thank you for setting up that meeting. I actually think that more work was done after the meeting
I think so.
than during the meeting for staffing reasons, not from us, but from elsewhere. So, but after the meeting, Lisa did some good work with her contacts to make sure that this project, going back to square one, still had a thumbs up to look at from the city of San Antonio, specifically Councilmember White's support. And it sounds like we have that, and the planning department is willing to go ahead with that. After that meeting, I wrote an email to Cynthia, and Cynthia, you probably haven't had time to make contact with the San Antonio City Attorney's Office, but any comments on that?
I believe that the lead counsel that was previously on the project, it's changed, so we haven't find out who that person is.
You bet. So Cynthia's on it, and great work. We're waiting to hear back from you. Hopefully, we have something, even though it's the holidays, if we could have something in January, that'd be great. Okay, thanks. Nancy, anything to add? You were there? Okay. Lisa, great job. Thanks for setting that up.
Sure.
Anything else?
Yeah, a couple
Go.
other things.
Go.
After the meeting, we also drove around Enchanted Bluff and Heimer Estates just to kind of see what was going on over there. Heimer has a model house in progress and several sold lots. They've got all the neighborhoods laid out, and looks like the lots are platted and everything. And we drove on into Enchanted Bluff, and they've made some progress on the roads throughout there. So that's, if you get a chance, just kind of check it out, see where things are. It's been a little bit quiet lately over there. So that's the status. And a follow-up to, if y'all remember, last month I talked about making a complaint to TCEQ about Lion Cave Materials, the Briggs pit that's right behind Wildwind. I was able to see online that I filed that complaint on 10/24. I was able to see that it was addressed on 11/16, but it's showing data not available. Apparently, it has to be checked by a supervisor before it's posted online. The second thing I did was talk to Katie Cunningham. She's with TCEQ's Small Business and Local Government Assistance Department out of Dallas. Because again, TCEQ is a mess, and it's frustrating, and it's hard to find the right answers. We also drove, Rob, Nancy, and I also drove to the back of Wildwind to just see the rock berms that are coming up against the back of people's yards. And they are tall, and they are close to the fence lines, and nobody at TCEQ, that's not something they have oversight over, right? So, they have oversight over, the pollutants and stormwater and air and those kinds of things. She said, they're working on best management practices. They've been working on best management practices forever. And, she really wasn't able to tell me, who do I contact about the location of these berms? Now, you can make a complaint to TCEQ about where the rock crusher is located, for whatever good that does. You could also talk to TxDOT, has some authority if a berm is close to a roadway, but there's not like an agency that says, hey, we're watching this pit, be constructed, we're watching the pit operate, and, these things are going, there's just not any oversight that I can find. Right.
Last night.
Oh, was it lit up last night?
Yeah, 11:30 last night. It was lit up like a whole other town over there. And berm is an understatement.
Right.
They're mountains of
giant.
dirt.
Yeah, they're
Sorry, I
giant.
didn't mean to put feet on your.
And God forbid we had enough snow, you could ski down them. That's how big they are.
They're big. They're 20, 30 feet tall, minimum. And there's a max height they can go with those too, but I don't know who's got the oversight over there, over that. I'm still working on it. I'll keep chasing ducks around.
Keep chasing it.
I will.
Council, any comments for Lisa or myself on that? Stay on top of it. Awesome. Number 2, Economic Development and Council Liaison to Tri-County Chamber. Kay? You and Kelly both, any updates?
Everybody come to the lunch next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, 11:30, right? And where?
Huh?
Where?
Uh,
Oh, it's here.
Oh, in
Yeah,
Garden Ridge
duh.
Community Event Center.
That's
Pardon me?
right.
I'm getting there. And our keynote speaker will be the well-known mayor,
Totally forgot
weatherman, Rob Erickson.
I'll call Chris Suchan. He'll come help me.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's all go to lunch.
yeah, seriously.
Okay.
It'd be
yes.
great. Great. This is the big party. Everybody that's there gets a present.
Ooh, wow. Totally going now. I have to speak. Okay. Kelly, anything to add after Kay's great comments? or-
Yeah, so yeah, it's called, Prize Palooza, so pretty much everybody wins some sort of prize. There's some pretty excellent prizes that are given away, so if you guys can make it, you probably win a cool prize.
It's not a bad commute.
So just a little, we had elected officials reception. Guys, it was the most successful reception we've had to date. Mindy told me 175. I'm going to round it up to 200. It has to be, had to be at least 200. Yeah, there were a lot of people there, and a lot of faces I hadn't seen in a long time out at this event. So it was a very fun event, and it's only going to get better. So hopefully we can petition to have it every year. I hope. One thing on it's kind of an economic development front item, but when we do eventually get our Paul Davis boulder put in, I would recommend us having an unveiling with the Tri-County. Yeah, invite all the cities and stuff, and so. And then you're talking about the new neighborhood. So, one of them was selected by Gasaba next year for the Parade of Homes. So we will have the Parade of Homes and a lot of people coming into Garden Ridge, even though it's not in Garden Ridge city limits. You'll have a lot of people looking for homes and properties coming in and seeing Garden Ridge who've probably never been out here before. So I'll keep you updated on the date. I don't know the date yet. My wife knows the date, but I don't.
Those are great ideas. We're all going to lunch next week.
Next November, I think.
And an unveiling, and all of the comments I got, multiple comments I got about the reception that Tri-County held here, elected officials' reception, were outstanding. So I think we should probably try to lock that up for next year anyway. All right, great job. On to item number 3, AAMPO.
Okay, we
Jesse?
had we didn't have a meeting in November. We had one last Friday, December 1st. A lot of topics on the agenda. New Braunfels presented their transit development plan. They're trying to bring in some buses, some bus routes around there. That's going to be working for a while. We had reviewed some bylaw revisions for as far as bringing in different board members and requirements for that. Non-elected officials type thing, not from like MP, like there's a lot of council members, Northeast Partnership, things like that. It's for the other representations on that committee. Presented the Transportation Improvement Program, the call for projects. Looks like all 7 transportation alternative projects that were submitted will be approved. That includes Schertz and Selma getting theirs. It hasn't been approved yet, but it looks like they will be. And then the staff is suggesting moving some eligible pedestrian and biking projects from the congestion mitigation and air quality improvements to the TA also. So it looks like all the projects are going to get approved. Yeah. They only had 7 total for transportation alternatives in the area. Okay. Next meeting's in January.
Thanks for being there, making all those meetings. That's critical. We have our foot in the door there. Great job, Jesse. Moving on to 4, Council Liaison of the Water Company and Utilities Department. I'm going to ask what you have to say, and then if I need to add anything, I'll go.
Okay. Well, I've been saying for a few months now that I've been working on something behind the scenes, and I'll be coming back to council with an update. Well, this is the month for the update. Especially around water rate review process. Water Commission's been conducting the water rate annual review since 2019, and everybody remembers what happened then. That's when it came to the Water Commission, and specifically myself and Vice Chair Kevin Harshberger have been doing the water rates since then, and I continued even doing that after I got on council a couple years ago. The current process is we start the process after the budget has been approved, and usually has around this time, October, November, with Water Commission, and then present to council in November. And the rates go into effect at beginning of the year. The problem with that is our fiscal year starting in October. Okay, and we're out of sequence. So in working with Robin and Nancy, and also the Water Commission, the proposal is to change two things. Transition who does the water rate calculations and all the review to staff, basically Robin and Michelle. Robin left already, so I was gonna. But anyway, Robin had asked a lot of great questions in the process and brought some good points up to speed. So I think it will be a good addition to have her involved in this in the future. The other part is we're gonna move it from this time of year to do it concurrently with the budgeting process. So that instead of feeding the process in with the budget, we come opposite, we feed the numbers here into the budgeting process when just bring in the water sales. So we'll do that in conjunction with that, and if there's any rate increases required or necessary, they'll go into effect October 1st with the fiscal year. So the question came up is how we're gonna do this year with respect to any increases. Looking at the reserves, the fund reserves, I think we'll be okay to make it through October. We shouldn't have, too much issues. I think the budgeting and the expenditures will be manageable. So I think we'll be okay if we delay the process until the summer. And so I feel very comfortable in doing that. I'm looking forward to bringing Robin and Michelle further. Michelle does a lot of the water consumption calculations already and feeds me the information. I'm gonna get her involved a little bit more to do the rest of it. So Nancy or Rob, whoever wants to take over.
I've got nothing to add. That's great. It has my full support. It's fiscally smart and sound to combine our budget process with our water rate structure.
Yeah.
So
Nancy reviewed it with the Water Commission at the last meeting. So.
it's great. Nancy, anything else to add?
No, I think Councilman Valdez covered it very thoroughly.
Yeah. Jesse, thanks. Nancy, great job. Michelle and Robin, awesome. And thanks for your support on that one, Jim. All right, on to item number 10A5, Council Liaison at Comal ISD. That's usually Todd. I don't have any updates. We all know how the Wolves are doing. Dr. John Chapman's going to be the guest speaker in January as the Comal ISD Superintendent at Northeast Partnership. So trying to get the word out there. And that's all we got for that.
Rob?
Go, please.
I'm sorry, I overlooked something on our Tri-County, it's kind of important,
bet.
I'd like to go
Absolutely.
back. I forgot to mention that I attended a ribbon cutting for a new business in our city called Greater Learning. They're located at 19243 FM 22 in the last building there adjacent to Pension Marks. I just wanted to give a shout out to one of our new businesses. She has two other locations in the city. She's been in business 30 years, and she chose Garden Ridge.
Awesome. Thank you, Kay. Thanks for remembering that. All right, moving on to item number 11, discussion of future agenda items. I'll start on my left. Kay, anything you want to bring up next month?
I may, but I prefer to find out a little bit more before I can notify Marissa in time for the agenda.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Jesse. Lise? Kelly? All right, on to item number 12, citizen comment period. You don't have to have signed up for this one. You've got 2 minutes. Please treat us and everybody here with the same respect you'd want to be treated with yourself. Any participants? Please, sir. If you would just state your name and then check in with Marissa when you're all done. The floor is yours. You got to turn on the mic. Marissa's going to help you, sir.
Tom Klimas, 9610 Meadow Rue. We had a significant water leak back in October. It wasn't one of these geysers. It was along the surface of the ground. Excuse me. We didn't catch it. It was in a somewhat obscure area of our yard. A resident on Astor Circle behind our house saw water coming down there, notified us. We turned off the irrigation system. We filled out the Appendix F, water loss adjustment request and submitted it, dated the 3rd of October. I had it repaired. I brought the broken pipe up here. It's in one of the offices. And when we got the water bill, it was just over $1,000. We paid that, and I still haven't received a reply on our Appendix F, and it's been 2 months. I would like to get an interim reply, perhaps, and then an estimated completion date. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to item number 13, reports and comments from mayor and city council members. Anybody have anything? We'll start with Kelly. You want to say about the items listed on the agenda?
Just one more item for Tri-County Chamber golf tournament, April 16th.
Awesome, thanks. Lisa?
Under Comal County, they have released their preliminary parks and open space master plan, and it is available online. I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's a couple hundred pages, almost 300 pages long, I think. 260? It's long.
Yeah, you got to read it on the computer. Thanks, Lisa. Anything else? Jesse?
Yes, sir. I have a TxDOT update. I spoke with TxDOT Director of Transportation for the San Antonio District last Friday. This concerns the work on FM 3009. There's been a lot of survey work going on. He has a design team put together that's compiling all the data that's being collected. The first surveying was taken, looking at all the property pins along 3009 within the city. I don't know how far past, city limit it goes, but looking at all that. And then they looked at identifying the underground culverts. And now they're doing utilities. So you have the markings, you have all the flags for utilities, and they're surveying those locations. Again, that data is going into the design team. We'll probably look at, either short-term, hopefully short-term and long-term, improvements. The long-term, we hope, is the 4-lane divided, something similar to 2252. But hopefully we can get some short-term improvements that they can do easier and faster. So anyway, every month I see him at the MPO meeting and I corner him after the meeting. So so whenever I can get updates, and he shows up for that reason. But anyway, looking good. Hopefully we can get something done with 3009 eventually here.
That's awesome. Thanks. Okay. Piggybacking on what you said, Jesse, when we last talked to Will Lockett from TxDOT for Comal County, as soon as we're done with the work with utilities and water lines on 2252, they'll start work on widening the actual highway from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. And according to Will Lockett, they'll start with the flyover bridge down by Comal Creek. So more to follow on that. Families of Garden Ridge, we had another very successful pickup on the 18th of November. We had 28 people, 25 of whom are from Davenport High School's National Honor Society, and they've been coming out in force along with PAC 828 to help us keep our roadsides free of debris. It's amazing how quickly they can cover 4 miles, 2 miles each side of a highway together, and then a couple more of us helping out there. So they do great work, and a special shout out to the president of Davenport High School National Honor Society, Kamar Karud. He's an outstanding young man and does great work, and he can organize students like you read about as a student himself. Northeast Partnership, that is going really well. Our next luncheon is next Thursday, the 14th. Our guest speaker, 2 guest speakers actually, will introduce State Representative John Lujan, who has a huge retired 30-year firefighter who decided to run for state representative and won as a Republican in that district. And he and I made contact with one another, and he wants to be a part. He wants to help his district form their own partnership. So he's going to come and check out Northeast Partnership and talk about unity and talk a little bit for 5 minutes about what's going on in his district. That is right up against the 13 members and cities of the Northeast Partnership. Our official guest speaker is Brigadier General Russell Driggers. He's Joint Base San Antonio commander, a friend of mine. We flew jets together way back when, and he's going to come and give us an update on JBSA. We talked about Dr. Chapman in April, and we actually booked Dr. Chapman in January, and in April, we actually booked Donna Campbell agreed to come out. So thank you so much to her and our staff for volunteering to do that. We are actively seeking new members, so new cities, including Spring Branch and Bulverde, as well as New Braunfels. So they've expressed interest in that. So that's a good thing. Yeah, it's good. I don't have anything else. Anybody?
Yeah, just
going once?
saw Great Springs
Yeah.
project. Lisa and I met with our new contact, last week? Week before? Last week. So we introduced ourselves, mainly that's it, just meet her. So hopefully she'll make available, help us with some more grants. So, more to come.
Awesome. More to follow on that. Anything else? Okay, on to item number 14, adjournment. There being no further business, the City Council regular meeting for Wednesday, the 6th of December is adjourned at 8:36 p.m. Go Wolves and Merry Christmas.